Hey everyone, and welcome to today's Explainer. Think of me today as that caring, maybe slightly overly enthusiastic friend pulling you aside for a gentle but much-needed intervention. We are taking a really close look at Korean skincare and answering the big question, what actually works? Now, spoiler alert right up front, it's not a massive, confusing routine. It is actually all about gentleness, barrier support, and finding a really good sunscreen. So let's just cut right through all the noise and dive in.
So, let's start off with a deep, very real frustration. Why on earth is your 10-step routine making your skin angry? If you have easily irritated, reactive skin, you know exactly what I am talking about here. You buy all these trendy products, you spend an exhausting amount of time layering them every single morning and night until your face is practically sliding off, and what is the actual result? Your skin is just left prone to visible redness and breakouts. It's totally exhausting, wildly expensive, and frankly, it feels incredibly unfair when you're trying so hard. You're doing everything right, yet your face just looks and feels completely overwhelmed.
Okay, so here is the great misunderstanding. The whole idea that you absolutely must do a 10-step routine costing $300, that's not an ancient tradition. Actually, scratch that. It is really just a highly effective modern merchandising strategy. It's a brilliant retail shopping list designed to sell you a giant basket full of products. The actual original philosophy is remarkably simple and, best of all, totally free. It's just about gentleness, taking a barrier-first approach, being incredibly consistent over the years, and using a really good sunscreen every single day. Which brings us to this completely fascinating, honestly kind of absurd truth. Let's call it the sunscreen paperwork problem. You hear everyone talking about how Korean sunscreens feel like absolute magic compared to the thick, chalky stuff we all grew up with, right? Well, they don't feel better because of magic. They actually feel better because of American bureaucratic paperwork. It is an administrative story, not some mystical formulation secret. Let's look at the timeline, because it really explains everything. Way back in 1938, the United States classified sunscreen as an over-the-counter drug, but places like Korea and Europe, they classify it as a cosmetic. Because the US treats it as a drug, the approval process for new UV filters is incredibly long and complex. Get this, after 1999, the US did not approve a single new sunscreen filter for 27 years. Meanwhile, the places classifying it as a cosmetic just get right on innovating, creating those beautiful, elegant textures you love. It wasn't until June of 2026 that the FDA finally added a new filter called bemetrizanol to the approved list. And this number right here, $18 million, illustrates the sheer scale of that paperwork problem. Seriously, just think about that number for a second. That is the estimated cost it took to get just that one new filter approved in the US in 2026. And it took over a decade of testing to get it done. That is exactly why American brands couldn't just magically make a better sunscreen. It was a giant regulatory hurdle, plain and simple.
So when you are looking for that true Korean skincare advantage, this sunscreen really is the key. But you have to know how to read the label. Most Western bottles just focus on SPF, which measures protection from UVB. Those are the rays that cause burning. But Korean bottles also print a PA rating on them, usually going up to PA++++. That measures protection from UVA, the aging rays. Shopping for that PA rating is the real game changer you want to look for to support the look of your skin over time.
Okay, sunscreen mystery solved. But that brings us back to our main question. So what actually works for sensitive skin? How do we finally stop this exhausting cycle of visible redness and daily frustration? Well, the answer definitely isn't adding an 11th product to calm down the irritation caused by the first 10. No way. The answer is stepping back, simplifying the whole shebang, and finding one truly gentle step that works with your skin type.
And that leads us to a really fascinating cosmetic solution. Meet PowerV. It is a soothing, single-step cosmetic alternative designed specifically for easily irritated skin. And hey, a quick, playful reminder for when you inevitably go to look this up later, do not forget the V in between power and skin. It's power-V-skin. It is so easy to miss when you're typing it, but it's super important if you want to find them. Now, the really crucial point is how this single step operates. The framing they use is defend, renew, and seal. And what's wonderfully ironic here is that PowerV isn't actually a Korean brand at all. They are a US brand based right out of Austin, Texas. But they totally read the same homework. They share that exact same barrier-first philosophy from the actual tradition we talked about earlier. It's all about doing less but doing it better to gracefully support how your skin looks and feels without ever overwhelming it. Let's look at what that gentle support can actually look like in practice. 26.2%. This is a fascinating Mibble biochemistry ingredient level study finding on one of their key ingredients. In this testing, they actually saw a 26.2% improvement in the look of crow's feet over 8 weeks.
It is incredibly important to note that we are talking purely about a visible appearance benefit here. It is all about supporting a smoother, more resilient look to the skin while completely avoiding the harshness of traditional active ingredients.
And honestly, the numbers on comfort are just as interesting. 91%. This is another very impressive Mibel biochemistry ingredient-level study finding. This specific testing showed a 91% barrier improvement in just 14 days. When you have easily irritated skin, barrier support is literally everything. A stronger feeling barrier is exactly what helps skin look calm, feel super comfortable, and stand up to daily environmental stressors without immediately resorting to visible redness.
The reason a single step can accomplish this all comes down to this specific formulation. We are looking at clinically tested ingredients here. Astaxanthin for antioxidant defense, right alongside PhytoCellTech Argan and MossCellTech #1. And the final cosmetic serum itself is dermatologist tested specifically on sensitive skin. Just as importantly, it completely avoids added fragrance, essential oils, and those harsh exfoliating acids. You know, the exact things that so often trigger those breakouts and the visible redness we are trying to leave behind in the first place.
I absolutely love this quote. It just brings the entire explainer together so perfectly. Fewer, kinder, longer. It perfectly summarizes the real takeaway from the true tradition of Korean skincare. A single, gentle cosmetic used consistently over a long period of time is absolutely the kindest thing you can possibly do for your face. It is not about forcing your skin into submission. It's just about supporting how it looks and feels with a lot of patience. So what is the next step for your own skin? I highly encourage you to go reclaim the look and feel of your skin by getting a totally free AI skin analysis. You can find it right at powerofskin.com/pages/skincare quiz. And remember, I'm reminding you one last time, make sure you type that V in between power and skin. It is power-v-skin.com. Are you ready to ditch the exhausting 10-step shopping list and try something kinder? Check it out. And ask yourself this. If your skin is constantly fighting back against your routine, who is really in charge? You or your skincare aisle? Thanks for joining me today.